The head of the Chechen Republic, Ramzan Kadyrov, never tires of coming up with extravagant initiatives, and what is most interesting is that he gets away with it. The initiative to limit travel abroad for officials is considered Ramzan Akhmatovich's personal opinion. Russian political expert Sergey Markedonov said this. The situation is made more piquant by the fact that on the eve of the publication of his creative idea, the head of Chechnya is paying a visit to the United Arab Emirates. In general, trips to the Middle East, not only to perform the Hajj or discuss investment projects, but also to attend prestigious horse races or Formula One auto races, are not uncommon for the head of Chechnya. However, unlike trips by individual Russian deputies to the United States, these visits are outside the focus of the Foreign Ministry or patriots from the State Duma and the presidential administration. He adds, the republic under Kadyrov's leadership has become an important political symbol for Vladimir Putin, who came to power under the slogans of pacifying the Caucasus and fighting terrorism. One should not forget that Kadyrov's cruelty is in many cases countered by no less cruelty on the part of the forest people. However, the Chechen Stabilization Medal also has a downside. Columbia University professor Kimberly Martin, in a special work devoted to the organization of regional government in transitional societies, used such a capacious definition as outsourced sovereignty. In economic dictionaries, outsourcing is understood as the transfer of some functions of an organization to external performers, highly qualified specialists of an outside company. In Chechnya, the process of regional governance was taken under control by a specialized organization called the Administration of Ramzan Kadyrov. It removed significant responsibility from Moscow for the methods and costs of the pacification process. But the price of the issue was the political independence of the Republican elite, which is essentially building a state within a state. Kadyrov himself perceives his status as a consequence of some kind of personal union between him and Putin, and instead of comprehensively integrating the republic into the all-Russian space, he promotes its isolation. Thus, the most important task of today remains the real arrival of the Russian state in the North Caucasus, not as trusted agents and administrative businessmen, but as an integrating force, a fair arbiter and guarantor of security. Take, for example, such a story as the conscription of young men from the North Caucasian republics into the Russian army. Every year, this problem is hotly debated, but not resolved. Meanwhile, in a multi-ethnic state, the conscription army is becoming not just a power structure, but the most important tool for integrating different segments of society. We should not forget that for the overpopulated Caucasus, with its high unemployment, the army can become a good social lift and a real alternative to the underground and criminal business. If cardinal changes do not occur, then Kadyrov's methods will be increasingly in demand, and the unity of the country will become even more illusory, Sergey Markedonov says.
U.S. President Donald Trump and other world leaders in NATO will meet Wednesday for a summit that could unite the world's biggest security organization around a new defense spending pledge, or widen divisions among the allies. According to Associated Press just a week ago, things had seemed rosy. NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte was optimistic the European members and Canada would commit to invest at least as much of their economic growth on defense as the United States does for the first time. Then Spain rejected the new NATO target for each country to spend 5% of its gross domestic product on defense, calling it unreasonable. Trump insists on that figure, but doesn't say it should apply to America. The alliance operates on a consensus that requires the backing of all 32 members. Trump has since lashed out at Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez's government, saying, NATO is going to have to deal with Spain. Spain's been a very low payer. He also criticized Canada as a low payer. European allies and Canada also want Ukraine to be at the top of the summit agenda, but they are wary that Trump might not want President Volodymyr Zelensky to steal the limelight. The two-day summit has been overshadowed by Trump's decision to order the bombing of nuclear installations in Iran. In 2003, the US-led war on Iraq deeply divided NATO, as France and Germany led opposition to the attack, while the UK and Spain joined the coalition. King Willem-Alexander of the Netherlands gave a speech to the NATO alliance leaders during a dinner at his royal palace in The Hague on Tuesday. According to Associated Press, King Willem-Alexander welcomed US President Donald Trump specifically. "Mr. President, it means so much to us to welcome you in our home tonight. We cherish the bonds of friendship that will always unite our nations," said King Willem-Alexander. The Dutch king said that NATO will welcome more nations to the alliance in the future. He also commended the alliance for committing to spending more money on defense. "It's rightly argued that we need to make sufficient investments in our security and that there must be a balance in the financial contributions made by the members of the alliance. There can be no solidarity unless everyone shoulders their own responsibility," said the Dutch king. NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte also commended Trump for pushing for an increase in NATO defense spending. "Today, I am pleased to announce that NATO has already added an additional $1 trillion in defense spending over the past decade," Rutte said on Tuesday. "Mr. President, dear Donald, that is thanks to you pushing us.